My name is Sienna Hartley. I'm 30 years old. I design interiors for residential homes in Portland, Oregon. I've been married to Marcus for 4 years now. His mother, Vivian, has hated me from day one. She never said it directly, but her actions spoke louder than any words. This wasn't a new problem. This was a pattern that repeated every single week. The dinner table told the whole story. Vivian controlled every seating arrangement. She decided who sat where. She decided who mattered. She used that table like a weapon. My mother, Ruth, never got a good seat. She always ended up in the corner, away from conversations, away from family, like she didn't belong there. It started 3 years ago at Christmas dinner. We gathered at Vivian's house. 20 people filled her formal dining room. Vivian had decorated everything perfectly. Crystal glasses sparkled under chandeliers. White china gleamed on dark wood. My mother brought homemade cookies. She'd stayed up late baking them. Vivian took the container at the door. She smiled that tight smile. "How sweet," she said. "Store-bought would have been fine." My mother's face fell. I saw it happen. "I made them myself," she said quietly. Vivian laughed. "Well, they look homemade." She set them aside. "They never made it to the dessert table." Marcus squeezed my hand. "Mom's just particular," he whispered. I nodded. I tried to believe him. But then came the seating arrangement. Vivian directed everyone to their places. Marcus sat near his father, David, at the head. Vivian sat across from them. His sister Clarissa took the spot beside their mother. "Sienna, you're here," Vivian pointed. "Middle of the table. Decent position." I sat down. Then my mother arrived. Vivian's smile disappeared. "Ruth, you're at the end." She pointed to the far corner, the kids' table area, where nobody could really talk. My mother didn't complain. She never did. She just smiled and sat where she was told. I should have said something. I didn't. I told myself it was just seating. It didn't matter. My mother seemed fine. But it happened again the next month, and the month after that. Every family dinner followed the same pattern. My mother always got the worst seat, always isolated, always dismissed. Then Vivian started forgetting to invite me to things. Family planning meetings happened without me. They'd discuss holiday plans, vacation schedules, important decisions. I'd hear about it afterward. "We assumed Marcus would tell you," Vivian would say. Her voice dripped with false concern. "Communication in marriage is so important." Marcus would apologize. He'd promise to include me next time. But next time would come. The pattern would repeat. I'd be left out again. The worst came 6 months ago. Marcus and I bought our first house. A beautiful craftsman with hardwood floors, large windows, a kitchen perfect for entertaining. We spent months choosing furniture, paint colors. Every detail mattered to me. One Tuesday, I came home from a client meeting. I opened my front door. I froze. My living room looked completely different. New curtains hung at the windows. Different throw pillows covered the couch. A large vase sat on the coffee table. Nothing was where I'd left it. Vivian stood in the middle of it all. She smiled wide. "Surprise! I redecorated while you were out." My mouth fell open. "You what?" "I had the spare key Marcus gave me," she said. She gestured around. The room needed help. It looked so bare. I'd spent 3 months designing that room, choosing every element, making it perfect. She'd erased it all in one afternoon. "You should have asked me first," I said. My voice shook. Vivian's smile tightened. "I was helping. Don't you like it?" Marcus came home an hour later. I was still standing there, still processing. He looked around. "Mom redecorated." Without asking, I said. Tears burned my eyes. He hugged me. She meant well. You know how she is. He looked at the changes. It does look nice, though. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling. Something inside me cracked. Not broke, just cracked. Tiny fracture, letting in doubt. 2 months ago came another dinner party. Vivian hosted. She invited Marcus's colleagues, important people, partners from his law firm, their spouses. I'd spent all day preparing a dish, homemade lasagna, my grandmother's recipe. I was proud of it. Vivian took it at the door. She barely looked. "We'll see if there's room on the table," she said. During dinner, she served everything else. My lasagna never appeared. Later, I found it, still covered, sitting on her kitchen counter, cold, untouched. When someone asked about dinner options, Vivian laughed. Sienna offered to bring something, but I couldn't risk it with such important guests. The table went quiet. Everyone looked at me. My face burned. Marcus stared at his plate. He said nothing. I excused myself to the bathroom. I locked the door. I breathed slowly, in and out, trying not to cry, trying not to scream. But none of that compared to 3 weeks ago, the moment everything changed, the moment I couldn't pretend anymore. Vivian called a Sunday family dinner at her house. The usual crowd would attend. She insisted my mother come too. Family is important, she'd said on the phone. My mother was excited. She bought a new blouse. She baked her special bread. She wanted to make a good impression. Still, after 3 years, still trying. We arrived at 6 o'clock. 15 people filled Vivian's dining room. Extended family, close friends, Marcus's Aunt Patricia, his Uncle James, Clarissa and her husband. Vivian controlled the seating like always. She placed everyone carefully. Marcus near his father, Clarissa beside her, friends scattered around. Then she pointed at my mother. "Ruth, you're in the kitchen. We need someone to help serve." My mother blinked. "Oh, I'm a guest, though." Vivian's smile was ice. "We all pitch in here. You don't mind, do you?" I stood up. "Mom's not the help. She's family." Vivian turned to me, her eyes narrowed. "I'm just asking for assistance. Don't be dramatic." Marcus touched my arm. "Mom, just give Ruth a seat." Vivian sighed loudly. "Fine." She pointed to the absolute corner, the spot where kids usually sat, where conversations didn't reach. "There." My mother started walking to the seat. Her shoulders slumped. I saw her trying to smile, trying to pretend it was fine. Something inside me snapped. The crack became a break, clean, complete, irreversible. "No," I said. My voice came out steady, strong. "Mom sits beside me, or we leave." The room went silent. 15 pairs of eyes watched. Marcus's mouth opened. Vivian's face turned red. "Excuse me," Vivian said. Her voice was dangerous, quiet. "You heard me," I said. I looked at my mother. "Get your things. We're going." My mother's eyes widened. "Sienna, it's okay." "It's not okay," I said. I looked at Marcus. "Are you coming?" He hesitated. He looked at his mother. He looked at me. "Can we just calm down?" "I am calm," I said. I picked up my purse. "I'm done. Completely done." I walked to my mother. I took her hand. We walked out together. Behind us, the dinner party sat in stunned silence. Nobody followed us. In the car, my mother cried. "I ruined everything." "You didn't ruin anything," I said. My hands gripped the steering wheel. "This ends now. All of it. That night, I slept in the guest room. Marcus tried to talk. I didn't respond. I needed silence, space, time to think about what came next. Something fundamental had shifted. I'd spent 4 years trying to fit in, trying to be enough, trying to make Vivian accept me, accept my mother, accept our working class background. Nothing I did would ever be enough. I finally understood that. The realization settled over me, heavy, certain, liberating. I wasn't going to try anymore. I wasn't going to bend. I wasn't going to apologize for existing, for my mother existing, for not being born into the right family, the right social class, the right world. The next morning, I told Marcus, "I'm done with your mother's treatment. Done with the seating arrangements. Done with being erased. Done with watching my mother be humiliated." He looked tired, conflicted. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to choose," I said, "your wife or your mother's cruelty. You can't have both anymore." He didn't answer right away. That told me everything. His silence was a choice, just not the one I needed. I started making plans that day. Small plans, quiet plans, plans about who I was, what I deserved, what I would accept, what I absolutely wouldn't. I decided to stop going to Vivian's house, stop attending her dinners, stop participating in the family events she controlled, stop giving her power over my life. It was terrifying. It was necessary. It was long overdue. The first time I said no felt like jumping off a cliff. Vivian called 3 days later. She wanted us for Sunday dinner. Like nothing happened. Like she hadn't humiliated my mother. Like I hadn't walked out. "We'll be busy," I told Marcus. He looked shocked. I'd never refused before. Never disrupted his family plans. "With what?" he asked. "I'm taking Mom to the botanical gardens," I said. "We're having our own Sunday." Marcus called his mother back. He made excuses. Work stress, prior commitments, vague reasons. He didn't tell her the truth. That I'd refused. That I was choosing my mother over his. Vivian's response came through Marcus. "Your mother's very hurt. She's trying to include everyone." "No, she's not," I said. "She's trying to control everyone. There's a difference." That Sunday, I took my mother to the gardens. We walked through flower beds, sat by fountains, had lunch at a cafe. We talked about everything, nothing, whatever we wanted. My mother looked lighter, happier. "This is nice," she said. "Just us." "We should do it every week," I said. I meant it. Marcus attended his family dinner alone. He came home quiet, tense. He didn't tell me details. I didn't ask. I was learning that his family's drama didn't have to be mine. The next week, Vivian tried again. Birthday celebration for Marcus's Aunt Patricia. Dinner at an expensive restaurant. Marcus needs to be there, she insisted. "He can go," I said. "I have a work deadline." I didn't have a deadline. I had a painting class. I'd signed up 3 days earlier, my first class in 7 years. I used to love watercolors. I'd stopped when Marcus and I got married. Too busy, too stressed, too consumed by trying to please his family. That evening, I painted. My hands remembered the brush strokes, the way water moved pigment, the control and release, the peaceful focus. I felt something unlock inside me, something I'd forgotten existed. Marcus came home late. "Everyone asked about you." "I'm sure they did," I said. "I kept painting. Blues and greens, ocean waves, peaceful." "Mom said you're being difficult." I looked up. "I'm being clear, not difficult, clear." Over the next month, I reclaimed more territory. I stopped apologizing for things I didn't do, stopped explaining my choices, stopped justifying my existence. I saw my mother twice a week, sometimes lunch, sometimes shopping, sometimes just coffee. We rebuilt something we'd lost, a closeness that Vivian's dinners had eroded. My work improved dramatically. Without constant family drama, I had energy to focus. I finished 3 major projects. Clients left glowing reviews. My portfolio grew stronger. I redesigned my living room, tore down Vivian's changes, put everything back my way, added new elements, made it completely mine. Marcus watched but didn't comment. He was learning too. Vivian noticed the changes. She called Marcus constantly. "Is Sienna okay? She seems distant." "She's fine," Marcus would say, "just busy." But I wasn't just busy. I was transforming, remembering who I was before I married into the Hartley family, before I started shrinking myself. Before I accepted crumbs and called it family. I reconnected with old friends, people I drifted from. Sarah, Jessica, Maya. We met for dinners, wine nights, game nights. They reminded me I was funny, smart, talented, worthy. "You seem different," Sarah said one evening, lighter. "I stopped trying to impress people who'll never be impressed," I said. It felt good to say it out loud. 6 weeks after I walked out of that dinner, something significant happened. I received an email from Portland Home Design magazine. They wanted to feature my work. They'd seen my online portfolio. They loved my residential projects. They wanted a 5-page spread. I read the email 3 times. My hands shook. This was huge. The magazine had 50,000 subscribers. Designers dreamed of this kind of feature. It would elevate my entire career. I called Sarah immediately. Not Marcus, not my mother. Sarah. "I got featured in Portland Home Design." She screamed, "Sienna, that's incredible!" We celebrated that night. Sarah, Maya, Jessica, and me. Wine, dessert, laughter. They toasted my success. They knew how hard I'd worked. They knew what this meant. I told my mother the next day. She cried happy tears. "I'm so proud of you, baby." I waited 2 days to tell Marcus. He was happy, genuinely happy. "That's amazing. When does it publish?" "Next month," I said. "They're sending a photographer next week." He hugged me. "You deserve this." I didn't tell Vivian. I didn't tell any of Marcus's family. The achievement was mine. I didn't need their approval, didn't want their commentary, didn't care what they thought. But keeping it secret made me nervous. Vivian would find out eventually. The magazine was popular. People would see it. People would talk. How would she react? I pushed the worry aside. I focused on preparing. The photographer came. We spent 4 hours capturing my best projects. My craftsman renovation, my modern loft design, my historic home restoration. The feature would include my interview, my background, my inspiration, my process, everything I'd built, everything I was. For the first time in years, I felt proud of myself. Not hopeful that others would be proud, actually proud, independent of anyone else's opinion. The feeling was intoxicating. Marcus started changing too, slowly, subtly. He defended me more, pushed back on his mother's demands, set small boundaries. Nothing dramatic, but noticeable. "I told Mom we're doing Thanksgiving at our house this year," he said one evening. I looked up from my sketch pad. "What?" "She always hosts, but I told her we want to start our own traditions. Smaller, just close family." My chest tightened. What did she say? She wasn't happy, but I didn't back down. He smiled, small, tired, but real. You were right about choosing. Something shifted between us. He was finally seeing what I'd been living, finally understanding the cost of his mother's control, finally willing to change it. I started planning Thanksgiving, our way. My mother would have the best seat, right beside me, at the head of the table, where she belonged. Vivian called me directly for the first time in weeks. "Marcus says you're hosting Thanksgiving." "Yes," I said. Simple, clear, no apology. That's quite ambitious for someone so busy with work. There it was, the dig, the implication I couldn't handle it. "I'll manage," I said. "Well, I hope you're not planning anything too simple. The Hartley family has standards." "My family has standards too," I said. My voice stayed calm, even, and we're both family now. Silence stretched. Vivian wasn't used to me talking back, wasn't used to me claiming space, wasn't used to me existing as equal. "I'll bring the centerpiece," she said finally. "You probably don't have anything appropriate." "Don't bother," I said. "I have it covered." I hung up before she could respond. My heart raced, but I felt powerful, clear, certain. My life was changing, my confidence growing, my boundaries strengthening. I was becoming someone I actually liked, someone I'd forgotten how to be. Marcus noticed. "You seem happier," he said one night. "I am," I said. "I'm not pretending anymore." "Pretending what?" "That being small makes me acceptable, that silence equals peace, that your mother's approval matters more than my dignity." He nodded slowly. "I'm sorry I didn't see it before." "You're seeing it now," I said. "That's what matters." But I knew the real test was coming. Thanksgiving would force confrontation. Vivian wouldn't tolerate being displaced, wouldn't accept new rules, wouldn't give up control easily. I started preparing, not just the dinner, but myself, for whatever came next, for the inevitable clash, for the moment when everything would come to a head. I was ready, more ready than I'd ever been, ready to fight for my space, my worth, my family, my life. 3 months passed after that phone call with Vivian. 3 months of growing stronger, 3 months of building boundaries, 3 months of reclaiming myself. My magazine feature published in September. 5 glossy pages, beautiful photos, my name in bold print. The response was overwhelming. Clients called immediately. Emails flooded my inbox. People wanted consultations, wanted my designs, wanted my vision. My calendar filled for 6 months out. My income doubled in the first month, tripled by the second. I hired an assistant, rented a small office space, officially expanded my business. Everything was happening right, happening mine. Marcus's family saw the magazine. Extended family called with congratulations. Colleagues mentioned it. Friends of friends reached out. The feature was everywhere. Vivian said nothing, not one word. Marcus told me she'd seen it. Clarissa had shown her. But Vivian never called, never texted, never acknowledged my success. That silence spoke volumes, louder than any insult, clearer than any criticism. She couldn't celebrate me, couldn't even pretend to be happy. My success threatened her, challenged her, proved I was valuable without her approval. I didn't care anymore. Her silence didn't hurt. It clarified. It confirmed everything I already knew. She would never accept me, would never be proud, would never see me as enough. So I stopped waiting for it, stopped hoping for it, stopped needing it. I celebrated with people who mattered. My mother threw a party. 20 friends came. Sarah made a toast to Sienna, who never gave up on her dreams. My mother hugged me tight. Your grandmother would be so proud. Marcus came to the party. He seemed uncomfortable at first, but he relaxed, laughed, enjoyed himself. Away from his family, he was different, lighter, more like the man I'd fallen in love with. Your friends really love you, he said on the drive home. They see me, I said. They actually see me. As Thanksgiving approached, the tension built. Vivian called Marcus daily, questioned our plans, tried to insert herself, tried to reclaim control. Who's coming? She demanded. Close family, Marcus repeated. Small gathering. Define close family. You, Dad, Clarissa, Sienna's mom. That's it. That's not a family Thanksgiving. That's barely a dinner party. It's our Thanksgiving, Marcus said, his voice firm, final. Our house, our rules. I felt proud of him. He was holding the line, supporting our decision, supporting me. But Vivian wasn't finished. She called me directly. I need to discuss the menu. It's handled, I said. You can't possibly do traditional Thanksgiving correctly. You don't know the family recipes. I have my own recipes, I said. My mother's cooking them with me. Sharp intake of breath. Ruth is cooking? She's family. Of course she's helping. Sienna, this is the Hartley family Thanksgiving. There are expectations, standards, ways things are done. This is my family's Thanksgiving too, I said. My voice stayed calm, and we have our standards. She hung up without goodbye. I knew I'd crossed another line. Claimed another piece of territory. Refused another subtle demand. The week before Thanksgiving, something strange happened. Marcus's phone kept buzzing. Messages in a family group chat, but not the normal one, a different one I wasn't in. I noticed him silencing it repeatedly, looking uncomfortable, deleting notifications quickly. What's that about? I asked. Just family stuff, he said. Too casual, too quick. What family stuff? Mom organizing something, nothing important. But his face said otherwise. His discomfort was obvious. Something was happening. Something he didn't want me to know. I let it go, but I stayed alert, watchful, waiting. 2 days before Thanksgiving, I was in Marcus's car. He'd gone inside a store. His phone was in the cup holder. It buzzed. The screen lit up. I glanced over automatically. Group chat notification. Vivian's inner circle. 23 messages unread. My stomach dropped. I picked up his phone. It unlocked with face recognition. My hands shook. I opened the messages. What I saw made my blood run cold. Messages going back months, since before the Sunday dinner incident, since before I walked out. Planning, plotting, conspiring. Vivian's message from 3 months ago. Ruth doesn't belong at family events. Someone needs to make that clear. Clarissa's response. How do we handle Sienna, though? She'll defend her mother. Vivian. Sienna needs to understand her place. She married into this family. That doesn't make Ruth one of us. Marcus's Aunt Patricia. What if we just stop inviting Ruth? Problem solved. Vivian. Too obvious. We need to make her uncomfortable enough that she stops coming. Then Sienna will get the message. My hands trembled. I scrolled faster. Messages continued. Detailed plans, specific strategies, ways to exclude, ways to humiliate, ways to break me down. From 6 weeks ago, Vivian. The seating arrangement worked. Ruth looked miserable in that corner. A few more dinners like that and she'll stop attending. From 4 weeks ago, Clarissa. Did you see Sienna's magazine feature? This is getting out of hand. Don't worry. I have plans for Thanksgiving. We'll remind her where she really stands. From 3 days ago. Vivian, Thanksgiving at their house is unacceptable, but we'll attend. We'll show Sienna exactly what we think of her little performance. Ruth will be humiliated, mark my words. Patricia, what are you planning? You'll see. Just follow my lead. Make sure David and Clarissa play along. My chest felt tight. I couldn't breathe. I kept reading. Message after message. Month after month. Coordinated cruelty. Planned exclusion. Calculated attacks. They discussed my mother like she was garbage. Discussed me like I was an inconvenience. Discussed ways to break me, ways to make me quit, ways to drive me away. And Marcus was in this chat. He'd seen every message, every plan, every cruel comment. He'd known everything, known and said nothing. The car door opened. Marcus got in. He saw his phone in my hand, saw my face. He froze. Sienna. You knew, I said, my voice shook. You knew everything. I didn't participate. You knew, I screamed. You were in the chat. You saw every message. You knew they were planning to humiliate my mother? He reached for the phone. Let me explain. I pulled back. Explain what? How you watched them plot against me? Against my mother? How you stayed silent while they planned our destruction? I didn't know how to tell you. You didn't know how to defend me. Tears burned my eyes. You chose them. Every single time. You chose them. I got out of the car, walked home. 2 miles. I didn't care. I needed air, space, distance. My mind raced. My heart broke. Everything I'd feared was true, worse than true, documented, proven, undeniable. At home, I screenshot every message, sent them to my phone, saved them everywhere, printed them. This was evidence, proof, ammunition. Marcus came home an hour later. He tried to talk. I held up my hand. Don't. Just don't. I should have told you. You should have defended me, should have left the chat, should have confronted your mother, should have been my husband. He had no response, no excuse good enough, no explanation that mattered. I went to the guest room, locked the door, sat on the bed, read through the messages again, let the reality sink in, let the pain wash over me, let the anger build. They'd been planning this for months, months of coordinated cruelty, months of calculated attacks. And Thanksgiving was supposed to be the finale, the ultimate humiliation, the final blow. But they didn't know I knew. They thought they still had surprise. They thought they still had power. They thought I was still the weak, compliant, desperate to please Sienna. They were wrong. I wasn't that person anymore. I'd changed, grown, strengthened. And now I had weapons they didn't know I possessed. Evidence, truth, righteous anger. I called my mother. Don't come to Thanksgiving. What? Why? Trust me, something's happening. But I need you safe. I need you away from this. Sienna, what's going on? I'll explain later. Please, just trust me. She agreed reluctantly. I hung up, made another call, to Sarah. I need you Thursday, 2 o'clock. Bring Maya and Jessica. I'll explain when you get here. Okay, she said. She heard something in my voice. Didn't question, just agreed. I made one more call, to Marcus's father, David. He answered, surprised. Sienna? I need to talk to you, privately, before Thanksgiving. We met the next morning, coffee shop downtown. I showed him the messages, every single one. watched his face change. Shock, disgust, shame. "I didn't know," he whispered. "I swear I didn't know it was this bad." "Will you help me?" I asked. "Thursday, when they show their true colors. Will you stand with me?" He looked at the messages again, at his wife's cruelty, his daughter's compliance, his family's conspiracy. "Yes," he said. "Yes, this ends Thursday." I had one more day to prepare. One more day before everything changed. One more day before I took back every bit of power they tried to steal. Thursday was coming. Vivian thought she controlled Thanksgiving, thought she'd humiliate me, thought she'd win. She was about to discover how wrong she was, about everything. Thanksgiving morning arrived, clear and cold. I woke up at 6, couldn't sleep anyway. Too much adrenaline, too much anticipation, too much righteous fury waiting to be unleashed. I'd spent hours planning, every detail, every moment, every word. This wasn't just Thanksgiving dinner. This was justice. This was freedom. This was the end of 4 years of cruelty. Marcus tried to talk to me over coffee. "Can we please discuss?" "Not now," I said. My voice was ice. "We'll talk after." He looked miserable. Good. He deserved miserable. He'd known. He'd stayed silent. He'd chosen them over me repeatedly. Now he'd watch everything explode. Watch and understand what his silence cost. I cooked all morning. Not alone. My mother came despite my warning. "I'm not hiding," she said. "Whatever happens, I face it." Sarah arrived at 11. Maya and Jessica came at noon. They helped, chopped vegetables, set the table, provided moral support, provided witnesses. "What's really happening today?" Sarah asked quietly. "Justice," I said, finally. The doorbell rang at 2 o'clock. I opened it. Vivian stood there, David behind her, Clarissa beside them, all dressed formally, all wearing their society faces, all ready to perform their planned humiliation. "Happy Thanksgiving," Vivian said. Her smile was poisonous. "Such a cozy little gathering." They walked in. Vivian's eyes scanned everything. My decorations, my table, my home. Looking for flaws, looking for reasons to criticize, looking for openings to attack. "Interesting centerpiece," she said. Not a compliment. Never a compliment. "Thank you," I said, calm, steady. "Please sit." I'd set the table deliberately, my mother at the head, the best seat, the place of honor. Vivian noticed immediately. Her face tightened, but she said nothing, yet. Marcus sat beside me, tense, quiet, waiting. David sat near my mother. He gave her a small smile, an apology in his eyes. She looked confused, but smiled back. Clarissa sat beside Vivian, united front, mother and daughter, accomplices, conspirators. Sarah, Maya, and Jessica sat scattered around, additional witnesses, additional protection, additional truth. Vivian looked at them. "I didn't realize we'd have outsiders." "They're not outsiders," I said. "They're my friends, my real family." Her jaw clenched. First strike landed, but she held her composure, still in control, still performing, still waiting for her moment. We ate. Conversation was strained, artificial, everyone waiting. The tension built like storm clouds, heavy, inevitable, about to break. Vivian started her usual pattern. Subtle digs, careful criticism. The turkey is a bit dry, dear, but effort is what matters. It's perfect, my mother said firmly. First time she'd ever disagreed with Vivian. Sienna's an excellent cook. Vivian's smile sharpened. Well, you would think so. What does that mean? My mother asked. Nothing, just that you have simpler tastes. My mother's face flushed. The insult was clear. Class warfare, status attack, Vivian's favorite weapon. But this time she'd miscalculated. This time there were witnesses who weren't complicit. That was rude, Maya said directly. Unnecessarily rude. Vivian turned to her. I'm sorry, who are you? Maya Chen, Sienna's friend, and that was classist and cruel. Silence stretched. Vivian wasn't used to being called out, wasn't used to anyone noticing, wasn't used to her cruelty being named. I think you misunderstood, Vivian started. No, I said, my voice cut through. She understood perfectly. You insulted my mother. Again. Like you've done for 4 years. Like you planned to do today. Vivian's face went rigid. Planned? What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone. I'm talking about this. I held it up, showed the group chat. Vivian's inner circle. Months of messages. Months of planning how to humiliate my mother. How to break me down. How to drive us away. Color drained from her face. Clarissa gasped. Marcus closed his eyes. David looked at his wife with something like disgust. How did you? Vivian started. Marcus's phone, I said. He left it unlocked. I saw everything. Vivian's eyes snapped to Marcus, fury and betrayal. But he wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me, regret written across every feature. Those messages were private, Vivian said, voice shaking now, control slipping. Those messages were evidence, I said, evidence of systematic cruelty, evidence of coordinated harassment, evidence of who you really are. I stood up, walked to my printer, grabbed the stack of papers I'd prepared, printed messages, all of them, months of cruelty in black and white. Let me read some highlights, I said. My voice stayed calm, even, clear. Vivian, from 3 months ago. Ruth doesn't belong at family events. Someone needs to make that clear. My mother's hand went to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Clarissa's response. How do we handle Sienna, though? She'll defend her mother. I looked at Clarissa. She couldn't meet my eyes. Shame. Good. Finally shame. Vivian again. Sienna needs to understand her place. She married into this family. That doesn't make Ruth one of us. I kept reading, quote after quote, message after message. The table sat frozen. Sarah and Maya and Jessica watched with open mouths. David's face grew darker with each revelation. My mother cried silently. Vivian tried to interrupt. Stop this. No, I said. My voice was steel. You wanted to humiliate us today. Wanted to make sure we knew we didn't belong. Wanted to break us. So now everyone gets to hear the truth. Everyone gets to see who you really are. You're twisting things. Am I? I looked at David. Did you know your wife had a group chat planning to exclude my mother? Planning my humiliation? For months? He shook his head slowly. No, I didn't. Did you know, Clarissa? I turned to her. That your mother called my mother garbage? That she said Ruth was too low class for the Hartley name? Clarissa looked at her mother, horror in her eyes. Mom, you didn't. I never used the word garbage, Vivian protested. You said Ruth is like trash that got dragged in with the recyclables. I read directly from the messages. October 15th, 10:43 p.m. My mother stood up, walked out. I heard the bathroom door close, her sobs muffled through the walls. Sarah followed her. Comfort, support, real family. "You've humiliated her enough," I said to Vivian. "You've tried to erase her, exclude her, diminish her. For what? Because she's a hotel housekeeper? Because she didn't go to your fancy schools? Because she's working class?" "This is about standards," Vivian started. "This is about cruelty," I interrupted. "About control. About your pathological need to be superior. To make everyone else feel small so you can feel big." Vivian stood up, tried to reclaim power. "You can't speak to me this way." "In my house, I can speak however I want," I said. My voice rose. "This is my house, my name on the deed, my table, my rules, and you are no longer welcome here." "Marcus," Vivian turned to her son, demanding, expectant, "are you going to let her?" "She's right," Marcus said quietly, "about all of it." Vivian's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "What?" "I was in the chat, Mom. I saw every message. I should have stopped it. I should have defended my wife. I chose wrong. Every time. I chose wrong." He looked at me. "I'm sorry, Sienna. You deserved better. You deserve better. And I'm going to do better." Vivian looked around wildly, seeking allies, finding none. David wouldn't meet her eyes. Clarissa looked ashamed. Jessica and Maya watched with crossed arms. Sarah came back with my mother. Both stood beside me, united, strong. "This is ridiculous," Vivian said, but her voice wavered. "You're all being dramatic." "Dramatic?" David stood up. "Vivian, I just listened to proof that you've been systematically cruel to our daughter-in-law and her mother for years. That's not dramatic. That's fact." "You're taking her side?" Vivian's voice went shrill. "Your wife?" "I'm taking the right side," he said. "For once, finally." Vivian grabbed her purse. "I won't stay here and be attacked." "Then leave," I said. "Simple, clear, final. This is my home. I decide who stays, and you no longer get a seat at my table. Not until you can treat my mother and me with basic human respect." She looked at Marcus, waiting, expecting him to defend her, to choose her, to follow her out. He stayed seated. "Goodbye, Mom." Her face crumbled. The mask fell completely. Raw emotion underneath. Rage, hurt, shock. She'd lost control, lost power, lost her son's blind loyalty, lost everything she'd tried so hard to maintain. She walked to the door, turned back once. "You'll regret this." "No," I said. "I regret not doing it sooner." She left. Door slammed. Silence fell. Heavy, profound, transformative. Then David spoke. "I'm sorry, Sienna, Ruth. I should have seen it sooner, should have stopped it sooner. I was a coward." My mother wiped her tears. "Thank you for saying that." "I'd like to stay," he said, "if you'll let me. Start over. Do better." I looked at him, saw genuine remorse, genuine willingness to change. "You can stay." Clarissa stood up. "I'm so sorry. I thought I had to side with Mom, but what she did was wrong. What I did was wrong. Can I please stay too?" I studied her, saw her shame, her regret, her fear of losing connection. On one condition. You delete that group chat. You tell everyone in it that it's over, that the cruelty stops. "I will," she said quickly. "Right now, I promise." She pulled out her phone, started typing, deleting, blocking. Marcus did the same. Both of them cutting ties with Vivian's inner circle. Both of them choosing differently. The tension broke. Everyone exhaled. Sarah hugged me. You were incredible." "I was necessary," I said. But I felt it. Pride, power, freedom, everything I'd wanted, everything I'd needed, everything I'd finally claimed. We finished Thanksgiving dinner, real dinner, honest dinner. Everyone lighter, freer. My mother sat at the head of the table, smiling, happy, honored, finally honored. Marcus pulled me aside later. "Can we talk? Really talk?" "Not tonight," I said, "but soon. We have a lot to work through." "I know," he said, "but I'm willing. However long it takes, whatever you need, I'm willing." That was enough, for now. Not forgiveness, but possibility, but willingness to try, but acknowledgement of harm and commitment to change. 6 months later, everything looks different. Vivian and I have no contact. She tried reaching out once, apologetic messages, excuses, justifications. I didn't respond. Some relationships aren't worth saving. Some boundaries are permanent. David visits regularly, alone, building a real relationship, making amends. He's different without Vivian's influence, kinder, gentler, honest. Clarissa and I have coffee monthly. She's in therapy, working on herself, on her relationship with her mother, on understanding her role in the cruelty. We're not close, but we're cordial, respectful, trying. Marcus and I are in couples counseling, working through his passivity, his fear of conflict, his inability to choose me over family approval. It's hard work, painful work, but he shows up, tries, changes. My business thrived. The confrontation somehow made me stronger, more confident, more certain. Clients sense it, want me. My mother and I have Sunday dinners every single week. At my house, our house, where she gets the best seat. Always, forever. Last month we hosted Thanksgiving again. Small group. David, Clarissa and her husband, Sarah, Maya, Jessica. A few other real friends. My mother at the head of the table, smiling, honored, home. Vivian sent a card. "I hope you can forgive me someday." I read it once, threw it away. Forgiveness isn't required. Peace is. And I have peace now, finally. I'm sitting at my desk right now, in my home office, my name on the door, my designs on the walls, my life, my terms, my rules. Marcus walks in with coffee. "Morning." "Morning," I say, accepting the cup, accepting his effort, accepting the possibility of us. My phone buzzes. New client inquiry, new project, new opportunity. Life keeps moving forward. I keep moving forward. The dinner table is set for tonight. Small gathering. My mother's coming. She always has a place at my table. The best place, the honored place, the place she deserves. Because in this house, I decide who stays. I decide who belongs. I decide what family means. And anyone who can't respect that doesn't get a seat. Not at my table, not in my life, not ever again. I learned something through all of this. Establishing boundaries isn't cruel. It's necessary. Protecting yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. And choosing people who value you over people who abuse you isn't wrong. It's wisdom. My mother was right all along. She didn't need to change. She didn't need to prove herself. She was always enough, always worthy, always deserving of respect. And so was I. I just needed to believe it, needed to claim it, needed to enforce it. Now I do, every single day, without apology, without doubt, without compromise. This is my life, my home, my family, my rules, and I'll never give that power away again.